Tonight, live at 8 o'clock on CBS and KDK-TV, the Broadway League and the American Theater Wing present the 2017 Antoinette Perry or Tony Awards. There is no better time to tell the wonderful story of the creation of the Broadway production An American in Paris, which won Tonys in 2015 for Best Choreography, Lighting and Scenic Design, and Orchestration of a Musical. Pittsburgh CLO and its executive producer Van Kaplan played a key role in creating and in financing this musical, which just finished a successful run at the Bennett Center as part of both the CLO and Pittsburgh Broadway series. KDK's Christine Sorensen went behind the scenes to see the hard work and creativity that has resulted in this amazing production.
Wonderful perfectly describes the musical An American in Paris, a show filled with romance, drama, and lots of dancing. But right behind the set, still on the stage, is where another kind of show goes on, costume changing.
There's a certain choreography to it, you know, just like there is on stage.
Wardrobe supervisor Meredith Scott says the colors of the costumes evolve from the beginning to the end of reflecting the changing mood in Paris right after World War II.
When you see the curtain go up the first time, it's a lot of black, it's a lot of, army green, it's a lot of dark gray, very, very muted, very, very dark color. It goes to a much brighter, like cherry print, much more whimsical, a little more, bright, a little more hope.
Some of the costumes are vintage clothes, like this coat and army hat, but many are custom made, including these headpieces.
They're molded to each girl's head.
You're kidding
No, they took a mold of their heads.
I've always wanted to be a Rockette.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's great.
I love it. Thank you. And this dress has a loose string connecting the two sides of the skirt.
Because she does so many turns and lifts. So it's just it's a small little way to keep it from flying completely over her head.
Who would have thought of that?
I've never seen it before.
It's quiet backstage now before the show, but there's mayhem during the show. 25 dancers changing here, girls here, boys there. 3 dressers inside each dressing room, all getting ready at once.
The fastest change in the show, I'd say, is probably about 20 seconds.
Changing clothes and shoes, character shoes, point shoes, and custom-made tap shoes. It takes a lot of work backstage to make it look so easy and glamorous on stage. Christine Sorensen, KDKA-TV News.
We are so pleased to welcome back Van Kaplan, Pittsburgh CLO's executive producer, who's also here to talk about the rest of the CLO season. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why the success of American in Paris? What was it about that appealed to so many people on Broadway?
Well, I think it's a part of our culture. I mean, the film 1951 won 6 Academy Awards, and I think we've all grown up seeing Gene Kelly dance with those kids singing I've Got Rhythm and those great musical and dance numbers in that musical. So I think that people connect with it. The Gershwin music, the score is so readily accessible, so I think that's partly been the reason for that.
Rodgers and Hammerstein did so many incredible pieces that are vintage pieces to some extent too. Why do new pieces? Why is it important to continue the tradition that is musical theater?
Well, I think that we all look for new work to be introduced to the canon. Just as those pieces were so important to the time that they were introduced, we want new musicals to speak to us today, the experiences that we're going through. And I think you'll always see new work being created throughout history. The time creates their own kind of art, and that's what we're doing.
Did American have the same reception here in Pittsburgh that it did on Broadway in New York? Was it the same sort of response?
The audience have truly embraced this musical. Gene Kelly, this is his hometown, and it's Pittsburgh CLO. He was the honorary chairman of our board for many, many years in the 80s and 90s, and it was a homecoming of sorts for us.
And it's part of a new season that American in Paris kicks off, and next up, Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid, that's right.
How do you do a production like that people think of as being an animated show?
Well, it was a great Disney film. And we did the show a number of years ago, and we decided to revive it and bring it back. And there's been such excitement for this production of Little Mermaid that we're taking it from Pittsburgh on tour. It's going out to 21 weeks across the country and playing in many, many cities.
So what is it about that particular show that you like as somebody from the production side of things, from an executive producer standpoint?
Well, there are a lot of magical and incredible technical elements to the show. Ariel, you know, as she's swimming underwater, is actually being flown on wires, and it's so exciting to see that. There's a lot of underwater sequences. The characters are so much, they're full of life, and the music, of course, the Alan Menken score is just fantastic.
And the rest of the season isn't too shoddy either. Tell us about those.
No, we have a really great season planned. After Little Mermaid, we're doing Lin-Manuel's first musical, which is In the Heights, won a Tony Award for Best Musical. Lin-Manuel Miranda, of course, wrote Hamilton, which is the biggest show of our lifetime, and so we're bringing this show to the CLO for the very first time. It's again, it's kind of a musical of our time. It's a hip-hop musical, takes place in Washington Heights in New York, and it's exciting, a wonderful piece.
Newsies, Mamma Mia, some of the other ones that are also
That's
coming
right.
to Pittsburgh
Disney's
too.
Newsies is after In the Heights, which is another great film come to the stage. Mamma Mia is an all-time favorite for Pittsburgh, so we're very excited to be producing that for the first time. And then we end the season with $1 Million Quartet, which is a really great show for those people who like Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins, and it's that kind of great music.
Music has a way to take you to that particular time and space, and I think all of these shows have an element of that built in, don't you?
It transports you to another time. You know, there's so many worries that we carry with us every day, and, you know, things happening in the world around us. It's great to go to the theater, sit down, let the music kind of wash over you, and be transported to a different place.
Maybe sometimes wash you, too, at the same time as you come out feeling like, you know, a different person.
Well, you might get wet at Little Mermaid.
That's right.
I'm not quite sure.
You may. What about the cabaret and some of the other things that are going on in some of the smaller spaces?
We love the cabaret. You know, it's right across the street from the Benedum. The Pittsburgh CLO Cabaret right now is hosting a show called Miss Abigail's Guide to Love and Marriage, and Dating, Love and Marriage. And
Trading Spaces, that's right.
Paige Davis is the star from TV's Trading Spaces, and she is just incredible. It's an interactive play with the audience. She talks to the audience and gives you a lot of dating and those kind of tips, you know, which will help everybody.
Fun stuff. Even those of us who've been married for a while could probably be reminded, right?
I picked up a few things from the show, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's a great evening out. That's what's wonderful about the cabaret.
And obviously the CLO has been doing that for many, many years here in Pittsburgh. Thank you very much for coming by and sharing.
So much.
Van Kaplan, it's always great to have an opportunity to catch up and find out what's going on, and we appreciate your perspective. The Sunday Business Page will roll on. We'll be talking to Point Park University and how it's teaching vital athletics and life lessons for coaches, the people that spend time with our student athletes.